Hey, what's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine, back with another video. Welcome to the first initial thoughts and impressions for the iPhone X here. Um, Now, I'm happy to have got my hands on this device and to present it here for all of you guys here on the channel. I've had this phone for a little over 2 weeks now, and I was really busy. I didn't get a chance to do an unboxing video, but I think I'm just gonna skip over that just because by now, I mean, there's tons and tons of unboxing videos that are out there, and so I think you guys pretty much already know the contents that come in the box. Um, if you don't know, I mean, you get the phone, obviously, the lightning cable, the lightning charger adapter. You get a pair of headphones. It'd be nice to get some AirPods in the box with this device, considering the price, but they just give you some regular wired headphones, and you get a dongle because there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and you get some literature, and that's all that comes in the box there. So that's everything in a nutshell as far as what's included in the box. But I just wanted to, cut straight to the chase. Typically, when I'm reviewing products, I try to review them in the order in which I got them, which is the reason why I didn't do a an unboxing video. And one may say, well, you've had the phone for a couple weeks now. Where's the pristine review? Well, I haven't really had all that. I haven't played with this phone extensively, just because I wanted to make sure that I was giving all of my time and attention to other devices that I was reviewing. And I just kind of feel like it's not really fair, if I'm juggling doing reviews, because it kind of takes emphasis and concentration off of, one that I'm, trying to get out for you guys. So the one I was currently working on was the Asus Zenfone 4 Pro. That's up. So now, okay, now I can move on to the iPhone here. So without further ado, let's get into this thing. Now, before I pick the phone up and take a look at the hardware, we're going to go down the spec sheet real quick. You guys already know one of the most important specs being the price. I got to say the price is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The phone is starting off at $999 for the 64 gig variant, and I believe it's either $1150 or $1250 for the 256 gig variant. Now, pause one moment. This is kind of baffling to me. Why would they go with 64 gigs and 256 gigs and completely skip over 128 gig? It doesn't really make any sense. Now, I mean, there's nothing that would justify the $1,000 price tag, but it seems like it would make a little bit more sense, just to completely scrap 64 gig and just have a 128 gig variant and a 256 gig variant. Again, it still doesn't justify the price tag, because you can go buy an essential phone right now for $499 or $450, and you're getting a Snapdragon 835 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, and that comes standard with 128 gigs of onboard storage. Now, the issue is you just can't expand the storage, but at least they give you plenty. And for some people, 64 gigs is plenty. For most people, that may be plenty. For me, 64 gigs is plenty, but I'm just saying for the price, I mean, if you're paying $1,000 for a device, I mean, you should have maximum amount of storage, or at least the ability to expand the storage. And quite frankly, here's price-wise, here's the order in which I think this thing ought to go. And I know that some of you will agree with me, others may not. Some people feel like the $1,000 price tag is justified. And for those people that feel that way, more power to them. I respect your opinions. This phone, in my eyes, it should cost $799. Okay, this is a $800 device, in my personal opinion. And I understand there's a lot of people that's gonna feel that that's too much, but to me, all right, $699 or $799, which means that the iPhone 8. Okay, yeah. So here's the order. The X here, since this is Apple's latest and greatest from what they're claiming, This phone ought to be $799.99, 800 bucks. All right. The 8 Plus ought to be $699. The iPhone 8 ought to be $599. All right. The 7 Plus, $499. The 7, $399. And then anything below that, the iPhone SE or the 5 or whatever. I mean, believe it or not, people still have these, these devices, and a lot of people, they don't want the latest and greatest. And you can get some decent deals on some of the older model iPhones right now. They don't really drop in price that often. I mean, that's one thing, Apple products, they really hold their value. But yeah, $1,000, no, it doesn't matter what the phone does, who the OEM is, it's just not worth $1,000. So that's the first spec. Now, aside from that, we've got a 5.8-inch AMOLED display. Now, this is the first AMOLED panel that has ever been on an iPhone. Now, this is a Apple and Samsung collaborated display, and it's a really good OLED display. All right. Now, we've got 1125 by 2436 pixels, True Tone display, with a PPI, pixel density of 458. We've got 3 gigs of RAM on board. We've got 64 gigs of onboard storage. This is running the Apple A11 Bionic chip, which Apple is claiming to be their most powerful chip to date. We've got glass on the front and back. It's not specified as to whether or not it is Gorilla Glass or not. We've got a 2,716 milliamp hour battery. So the battery is a non-removable 2716 milliamps. Okay. We are running iOS 11.1 fresh out of the box. All right. This is a nano SIM, single SIM, not a dual SIM. We've got an IP67 certified water and dust resistance, which, I just felt compelled to mention that just because that's a thing now, and a lot of people will allow the IP rating to be a determining factor, Now, I can't say that I know the differences between IP68 versus 67. I don't know if, how much longer the phone can be submerged or splashed on or in dusty environments before, you start to notice malfunctions. But it is, IP67 water and dust resistance. Excuse me. We do have wireless charge on board with this device, and I'm absolutely loving that. I've got my Samsung Fast charger, and there's only been a couple of times since I've taken this phone out of the box that I've actually plugged it in. And I know that there was recently an update pushed to enable faster charging, with this device. Now, Apple is claiming that you can get 50% if your phone is completely dead. If your iPhone X is completely dead, they're claiming that you can get 50% in 30 minutes. I can't say that that was my experience. But like I said, I've only put it on the Lightning charger twice, and then since then I've just been throwing it on the fast wireless charger, and that actually seems to charge the device a little faster than the Lightning cable itself. It's actually kind of interesting, but I actually like that because you can prop the phone up on the charger and you still can see the screen when you're getting notifications, if you're texting or if you're getting a phone call, or if you just want to look over and check your notifications or something like that. You can do all that while the phone is propped up and charging. So I like the fact that they implemented wireless charging on the iPhone X here. Now, we do have an oleophobic coating that is going to reduce the amount of glare if you're in a bright environment or if you're outside and you're the sunshine is sun rays are beaming on the screen. Viewing angles, I have to say, are very very good on this device. And this device, it has a technology called True Tone, which, when you turn on True Tone, I'll show you guys. It's kind of like an adaptive display as far as, colors. Basically, the screen will adjust to the environment depending on the type of environment in which you're in. But sometimes, I turn it off. I mean, it's helpful in some situations because it kind of takes some of the strain off the eyes, especially when the phone is really bright. Of course, you could just cut down the brightness. The phone does get very bright. I'm not sure exactly what the amount of nits is as far as the total amount of brightness, but it does get extremely bright. But the True Tone, it definitely helps with that. But then I noticed in certain circumstances, it just really makes the phone, just really dim, and typically what I do is I just turn that type of stuff off, and I just always have my brightness set halfway, which that seems to be just fine, for viewing angles and just being able to view all the content that I need. So that's typically how I've been rocking the iPhone here. But again, we do have the oleophobic coating to kind of help with viewing angles and deflecting glares and stuff like that. The glass is supposedly scratch and smudge resistant, so they say that you shouldn't notice, too many fingerprints and things like that. But trust me, if you're rocking this phone bucket naked, please have a microfiber cleaning cloth or something that has the ability to wipe the smudge off, because this is a beautiful looking device, and when it's all smudged up, I mean, it really takes away from the beauty. If you gotta, I don't know how you guys rock, man, with your fashion, but, if you don't want to walk around with a cleaning cloth, I mean, your jeans, or, your skinny jeans, or, your t-shirt or your flannel, or, your khakis, you know what I'm saying? Or, women that got the X, you know what I'm saying? I mean, your blouse or your skirts or your yoga pants, or, whatever, you got something to wipe it on, man, to kind of get them smudges off, man, because it's not an attractive looking device when it's all smudged up. Now, the phone is built very durably. It's as always. I mean, Apple is known for making premium quality materials. This phone, being made in glass front and back, with a piece of metal sandwiched in between, it's got some weight to it. I mean, you definitely know that you're holding something in your hand. You know what I mean? And again, it's an Apple product. I mean, so there's no surprise there. But Apple is also claiming that this is the most sturdy, most durable device that they've ever built. But it's proven on several drop test videos that I've seen on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen them as well. If you haven't, just look it up. That this phone is the most expensive, most easiest or easily damaged device that there is. So please respect the tech, man. Protect your investment, have insurance, or at least if you don't want to have insurance on the device, just keep it in a case, keep it in a screen protector, because who wants to spend $1,000 and then drop your device and it's cracked and the phone's just shot to shit, and it's gonna cost you, $550 or $600, to fix a screen or something like that, from what I understand. So who wants to deal with that after you've already dropped $1,000 plus, on this device? I mean, so get something to protect your investment. Now we've got dual stereo speakers, we've got NFC, we've got Bluetooth 5.0. And we've got a 3-core graphics GPU. Now the cameras, we've got a dual 12 megapixel camera setup on the rear. We've got a standard 12 megapixel lens. The other is a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. And these cameras, they are completely loaded. They've got all the bells and whistles. They've got portrait mode. Same thing with the selfie camera. If you flip it around to the front, right here in the little controversial notch, we've got a 7 megapixel true depth camera sensor, and there's also portrait mode for selfies, and it actually works really well. And so stay tuned for the camera sample video that I plan on putting together for you guys, and I will display what this camera is capable of. But I mean, it takes some really, really amazing photos. I mean, the camera definitely is one of the sweet spots for sure of this particular device. Now, another thing to mention about the cameras is these cameras, the dual camera setup on the rear, I mean, they both have optical image stabilization, which is extremely solid. I mean, so, you're going to take some really top quality video and photos with this camera setup on the iPhone X here. Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. The colors that you can get this device in, you can get it in space gray and silver. I have the silver variant, and so let's get some hands on. you know, with this thing. All right. So let me get my little stand out of the way here. So here's the iPhone X, guys. So again, here is our 5.8-inch display, and it feels really good in the hand. Again, it's made with glass on the front and back, but it is kind of slippery. So again, that's another reason why you want to keep a case on your device. And if, you know, for those that are wondering, the device itself is $1,000. Who wants to turn around and spend another 40, 50 bucks on a case? I went to Best Buy and I got this case. This is the Insignia brand case, and this is just the generic version of the Apple branded silicone and leather cases that they're selling for like 40 and 50 bucks on top of the $1,000 price tag that you've already paid for the device. I mean, these cases should come in the box. You're paying $1,000, man. Everything should be inclusive in the box. I mean, there shouldn't be anything additional that you have to go out and buy, you know. But this is 20 bucks at Best Buy. And if you don't know what Insignia is Best Buy's brand. So I don't know if a lot of you guys shop at Best Buy, but you'll notice, say like if you go to the TV section, you're going to see all the name brand TVs, the Samsungs, the LGs, the Vizios, you know, all these high-end devices. And then you're going to see a bunch of TVs that are Insignia, which a lot of those TVs, they have the same specs as a lot of those heavy hitters, but they're way cheaper because they're the Best Buy brand, and they're the brand that is rivaling, you know, and you know, bidding for people's business. And oftentimes people, they buy them because it's like, okay, well, say if I go to Best Buy for a Samsung 4K TV and I see this Insignia that is like $600 cheaper and it has the same 4K capabilities, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? I'm about my money, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so Insignia is Best Buy's brand, and they have a lot of stuff. They have tablets, you know, they have all kind of stuff. So just know, if you see Insignia, just know that it's Best Buy's brand, and they don't sell it anywhere else but Best Buy. You're not going to go anywhere, any electronic store that's not a Best Buy, and find an Insignia branded anything. I mean, so, but yeah, this little case right here, I mean, it feels good. You know, it's like a rubber TPU case. It definitely adds some grip to the phone. I mean, all the cutouts and everything are extremely precise. 20 bucks, $19.99. You know, and I'm a rewards member at Best Buy, and actually I had a $20 certificate. So I paid like a couple dollars for the taxes. So I won with this one. I'm like, screw an Apple branded case for 50 bucks. But anyway, so 5.8-inch display. Phone feels really good in the hand, but it is kind of slippery because you've got glass on the front and back. Now, at the top here, this is where our receiver is. Now, as I mentioned, this phone has dual stereo speakers. One is front facing, the other one is bottom firing right here on the bottom. They sound amazing. I'll test those out for you. Now, here is our 7 megapixel sensor, and then up here in the notch is a little, that's where a lot of the sensors live, and that's where all the magic happens with the Face ID. All right, now, well, I'll touch on that in a second. Now, on the right of the device, we've got the SIM ejector tray, which, as I mentioned, I mean, this is just a single nano SIM tray. We've got the power button right here that also doubles as a sleep button, and this button right here can be programmed. And notice that the button is significantly longer than the power buttons on any other iPhone that I've noticed. There is no rigidity to it, but it is the only button that is on this side. I mean, so know that, I mean, if you're holding the phone and your thumb is pressing up against the long button, just know that that's the button that can be used to turn off the phone. And how you do that is you press that in, and to the left of the phone, you've got the volume rockers. I mean, so we've got the volume up and down, and then this is where we have our little switch to toggle the volume. You know what I'm saying? So when you switch it down, you know, the volume is off. When you click it back up, then the volume is on. Now, if you hold down this button right here, you're going to notice that not much is going to happen. All right. But if you hold it down while pressing in the volume down button, then that's what's going to bring up, you know, slide the power off, medical ID, emergency, SOS. And that's a really, these are two really good features to have, especially the SOS, because what that means is you can program the device to where if you're in some shit, if the shit's hitting the fan, I mean, if it's going down and you need, you know what I'm saying, you need to notify somebody like ASAP, then you got that SOS right there, you know what I mean? And, you know, it'll call 911 for you really quickly, where they can track your location. And depending on the circumstances, you may be able to tell them, you know, where you are and what's going on. Anybody that you've got listed as your emergency contacts, they'll be sent a text message instantly notifying them of the SOS so that they can try to get you, get to you and get you to safety. Hopefully you guys will never have to use this feature, but I like the fact that Apple is thoughtful enough to put these types of things in their devices, and they're not the first, to medical ID and stuff like that, medical information. I've seen that in other devices, but I've never seen like an SOS thing, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool. All right, now swinging around to the top of the device, we've got here what appears to be a noise canceling microphone. And aside from that, there's nothing else. Either that's a noise canceling microphone or, okay, actually, I lied. It's a piece of something. I think it's a piece of this case. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so we got that off. Okay, so the top is completely clean. There's nothing on the top. All right, then as I mentioned, to the left, we've got the volume rocker and the volume, the sound on and off toggle switch. We do have some very faint antenna lines, one right there and another one right there. And that's also on the right side of the device as well. Very faint. They definitely don't get in the way of the design. Very non-intrusive antenna lines. Now, when we flip the phone around to its back, you see, now this is the silver. And I'm assuming that when they say silver, okay, this little speck is annoying me. When they say silver, that they're referring to, wow, I can't get this off. Okay, whatever. That they're referring to the sides and the bottom and the top because that's the silver aluminum, but nothing else on the phone is silver. Like the back is white. Yeah, the back of the phone is white, and as you can see, we've got iPhone branding right there. What's up, y'all? You see me in the reflection. We've got the Apple sign. Now this is some BS right here, because why not have the fingerprint sensor right here where this Apple sign is? So, Apple, that was an opportunity right there. You know what I mean? That was an opportunity. All right, now to the bottom of the device, we've got our lightning adapter port for charging. Here is the second bottom firing speaker, and we've got the noise canceling mic right here. Okay, those are the specs and these are the cosmetics. Now, features and functionality. Again, as I mentioned, this device is running iOS 11.1. Now, one of the things that, seems to be really controversial with this device is the fact that Apple took away the home button. And a lot of people are used to the home button in the way that it functions. And I understand that, because mainly people were forced to have to deal with the home button in the way it functions because Apple, they really don't deviate much from, what they typically do. And that's one of the main reasons why, I love iOS. I like iPhones. I like Apple products, but I get bored with their phones, especially because they're the same shit all the time. And they've got you locked into that Apple ecosystem where you can't really do much with the phone. Yeah, you can change the ringtone and you can change the wallpaper and all that kind of thing, but it's not like Android where they give you free reins to just pretty much do and change whatever you want to, and so, I feel in that particular regard, iOS is just boring. You know what I mean? And it does a lot of stuff, but it Yeah, it's just boring. I mean, I'd much rather prefer the customization option that Android provides you. It's not to say that Apple makes bad products, but I mean, it's just, just me personally. I mean, I always found myself getting bored with Apple products. Now, I'm excited about this device, and as flooded as the market is right now with Android phones, and that's another good thing about Android. I mean, you've got so many different options to choose from, so many different price points and different phones, different OEMs, different features and functionality. And I know that iPhone, there's an iPhone out there for everybody at different price ranges as well. Um, but you know, this is something different. This is a different look for Apple. And I understand, here in 2017 especially, we've seen a lot of devices go that 18 by 9 aspect ratio route. A lot of these OEMs are making devices that have these bezel-less displays. I mean, that just seems to be the direction in which the market is headed. So can we say that Apple was forced, to make a product, of this caliber, to stay relevant? Yeah. I mean, if they want to stay a part of the conversation, what I'm saying? I mean, you can't just have all, these Android devices coming out with all these top-notch, beautiful displays, what I'm saying? And you're just stuck with this, 5.5, 8 plus or 9 plus or whatever the iPhones are going to be called, with these big chins and big foreheads. I mean, you're going to lose business. You know what I mean? I mean, so Apple, they have to, follow suit, what I'm saying, so that they can continue to appeal to their fan base, Um, and so that brings up another question for me. A lot of techies out there, a lot of these reviewers, hey, look, man, I respect everybody's opinion. I'm not going to disrespect anybody for how they feel about a particular device. But like I said, there's a lot of people bashing this phone, man. I've watched tons of reviews on people, don't buy the iPhone X, and why I'm returning the iPhone X, and why the iPhone X is pushing me to Android. And it's like, come on, man. And most of the issue is, they're talking about iOS 11 glitches or whatnot. I haven't had those problems. The good thing about Apple is, once they know that there is a problem, they're quick to address it with updates or whatever they got to do to rectify the issue. So maybe when I got mine, I mean, they had already had those kinks ironed out. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I have had this device for a couple of weeks. And so, but, they're griping about the notch and, the touch gestures and the fact that there's no longer a home button with Touch ID. And it's like, these are the same people that talk about how they thrive on tech innovation. But then when something innovative comes out, they're the first ones to bash it and slam it and just rake it over the freaking coal. And so it's like, okay, what is it, guys? Do you guys want tech innovation? Do you want some new shit? Or do you want everything to be the same? And see, that's why I get bored with these devices, because everything's the same. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like a lot of these phones, they all do the same things. They may do them a little differently. They may look a little differently. Some OEMs, they put a little skin on top of Android or whatnot, but ultimately they do the same things. And it just comes down to the features and the functions that you want and the price point that you're willing to pay. But ultimately they do the same things. You know what I'm saying? Man, I mean, I don't know how many Android devices I've had, with the 18 by 9 aspect ratio, bezel-less display. I have the Essential phone. The Essential phone to me has to, and that's what I'm recording with right now, that has to be the most beautiful bezel-less display possible. So I have the Essential. I have the Note 8. I had the S8 and the S8 Plus. I had the G6. I'm going to get my hands on the V30, but I don't want to splurge $800 for them. So as soon as the V30 drops in price, I'm on that V30. You know what I'm saying? I'm on that Mi Mix 2. Sharp, they got a bezel-less display. The Sharp Aquos, I mean, they did the bezel-less display years ago. Or the Sharp Aquos Crystal. or something like that. Well, they got a new one, the Sharp Aquos S2. You guys look that up. That phone is $399, bezel-less display. I mean, it's considered a mid-range because, you know, it's got the mid-range specs, you know, the Snapdragon 630 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, dual lens cameras. But it looks just like the Mi Mix 2. You know, it looks pretty dope. So it's like I done been there and done that with Android devices. You know, if you throw that on an Apple device, then it kind of changes the game a little bit. And it's not to say that what Apple is doing here on the X is new. Everything about this phone I've seen before, but it just hasn't been done on an Apple device. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, you know, I'm enjoying it. And I like new things. I like to learn new things. You know, who wants the same phone every year? I mean, typically what Apple does is you get the same hardware, they update the specs, or they do these little minor tweaks. Okay, now you got Touch ID. Okay, you can long press on the apps. Who cares about that? You know? Yeah, I mean, is it a useful feature when you get used to doing it? Yeah, I guess, but you know, it's just like little stuff like that. You know, they may enhance the camera a little bit. You know, they give you the latest processor, the A9 or the A10 Fusion. Now it's the A11 Bionic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they give you those things, but they don't really stray away from what they do hardware-wise. So I'm saying this is a complete makeover for Apple. And even though we've seen these technologies before in a lot of other devices, we ain't seen it on Apple. We ain't seen it on an iPhone. You know, this phone, I mean, it's the sweet spot. It's a 5.8-inch display. It's nice and slim. It fits really comfortable. It feels really good in my hand. The edges are curved. I mean, it's not digging in the palm of my hands. Like I said, I mean, it's just a little slippery. Throw a case on it. That'll solve all your problems right there. But as far as like, you know, the software, I mean, I haven't had any issues with iOS 11. A lot of the glitches and things that people are talking about, I haven't had any problems. The notch, people are making a huge deal over the notch. What's up with the notch, y'all? I mean, the notch, it's innovative. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's things that had to be compromised and sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to get this display, to give us this display. So it's like I can't understand why a lot of these reviewers who are slamming this device are so gung ho over the things that Apple had to take away. But let me come at you guys from this angle. When we're talking about tech innovation, right? If we're talking about tech innovation, if somebody didn't start it, then how would they know if it could be something that can be great or something that can be built upon? And so a lot of people are just like, oh, well, I'm returning the iPhone X and the iPhone X2. That'll be the one to get because they're going to work out all the kinks and this and that. Hey, I mean, if that's how you feel, man, more power to you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to enjoy my iPhone X. I'm having a blast with this phone. This phone is dope. It's a learning curve, you know, and I understand, you know, some people and see some people, they don't like change. Some people, they get stagnant, they get complacent, and they they just want the same old thing. And then anything that changes, that ruffles their feathers a little bit, that's going to cause them to have to, you know, do some little research or, you know, pull out the instruction manual a little bit, do a little reading, you know what I'm saying? Try a few different things out. And now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, it's inconvenient and the user interface isn't really all that intuitive. And, you know, that simple iPhone, you know, experience that we're so used to, now it's complicated. Complicated for who? Quit being lazy. You know what I mean? Because once you get this stuff, it's a no-brainer. And it's just a different way of doing things. Now, are there some additional steps? Yeah, there's some additional steps that may be annoyances to people. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. So they got rid of the home button and they got rid of Touch ID. So everything is Face ID. The thing that's so significant about Face ID on this particular device is it's not like any other device where it's just, you know, it had like let's say the Note 8 or the S8 and the S8 Plus. They have facial recognition, right? Those are just merely to unlock your phone. Okay, you scan your eyes, you know, your biometrics are scanned, and then it brings you to your home screen. Okay, now the reason why I'd say that Face ID on this iPhone is more advanced than that is because Face ID on this iPhone is utilized for a bunch of different things. Things where you house your personal information. It's all controlled by Face ID. So say any phone that has a fingerprint sensor, and say any app that you want to get into that has any kind of security features, it'll ask you if you want to allow that app to utilize your fingerprints in order to be able to access that app. Well, since the iPhone X no longer has Touch ID, now it's facial recognition that these apps is asking for. What are you talking about, Pristine? Apple Pay? The spot where you keep all your credit cards and your debit cards? Rather than a fingerprint sensor in order to access your Apple Pay, now it's scanning your face. You know, your passports and your in other cards, or your social security card, or other important documents in that you keep stored in applications. Since there's no fingerprint sensor, it's asking you, can it use your Face ID to unlock that app, just so that anybody cannot get into the app. So it's really secure. I mean, so, you know, the Face ID feature on this iPhone, it goes deeper than just facial recognition just to bring you to your home screen. Now, I do have to say that one thing that is an annoyance is, and it's quick. Okay, look, I'll lock the device. I'll unlock it. Pay attention. You see? And it waits for me to look at this. I have it set up to where, you know, I have to be looking at the screen in order for it to unlock. Okay, boom, it unlocks. Now, typically, with other devices that just have facial recognition, when the phone unlocks, it takes you to your home screen. But on the iPhone X, when you see that unlock there, you have to swipe up to get to your applications. You know, that's a little bit of an annoyance. Or can it be considered an annoyance? Yeah, I can see how. But I mean, come on, it takes a second to swipe up on the device. You know what I'm saying? And the phone is thin enough to where, you know, that particular aspect of the device, once it's unlocked, you just simply swipe up. I mean, it's not a two-handed operation with that particular aspect. Now, a lot of people are beefing over the gestures. Okay, let's go over the gestures real quick. So the control center used to be able to swipe up from the bottom and bring up your control center. Now, when you swipe up on the iPhone X, that's what's going to take you to your home. That's what's going to take you to this screen right here. So any application that you're in, when you swipe up from the bottom, that's going to take you to your home. So now, the left corner, you swipe down from the left corner, and that brings you to your control center where you have all your toggles here. Okay? To do away with that, you guys see that little white bar right there? Wherever that little white bar is at the bottom of the screen, that's your indicator that all you have to do is swipe up, and that's going to take you back home. Boom. So swiped up, now I'm back home. Okay. A lot of people are griping over the fact that, okay, you got, you know, how the notch is getting in the way, and they can only fit the time here. And then on this side, they can fit the number of bars that you got. You see, I got my Wi-Fi connected, and then they got the battery right there. But a lot of people are beefing over the fact that the battery percentage isn't right there. And I understand that. You know, I like to be able to just glance at my phone real quick and, you know, see how much battery I'm rocking with, you know. But you just swipe down and bring up your control center, and then your battery percentage is right there. You know, I'm at 63%. You know, I mean, now, do I wish that you can change that to where it was just visible right here where the little battery icon is? Yeah. But I mean, is it that big of a deal? I mean, come on. I mean, I feel like people, they nitpick. Now, to get to your notifications rather than swiping down from the middle. Oh, I did swipe down from the middle. All right, well, either the middle or swipe down from the top left, and that brings up all your notifications. You know, and you can just scroll through them like so. And as you can see, I get a lot of notifications. So that's that. Now, to get to your recents, you can do it two ways. You can swipe up, hold, and it's going to bring open all the cards that you have open. And you just swipe through them just to navigate through them like so. And then whichever one you want to go to, you know, if I want to listen to some music, you know what I'm saying? I just hit that. I'm in Spotify right now. If I want to go out of Spotify, I just swipe up and it takes me to my home screen. Now, another little gesture to bring up the recent cards is to swipe up and to kind of veer your thumb to the right. and it also brings up the cards. Now, to do away with the cards, you can't just swipe away like that. If you swipe up again, it's going to take you to your home screen. So you can either swipe up and veer to the right to bring the cards up, or you can just swipe up and hold, and that's also going to bring the cards up. And then what you do is you long press on the cards, and then you'll see those little minuses right there. And then you can either touch the minus or you can just swipe the app away. That's how you close down your apps. Okay. It's very simple to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of these gestures and things, I mean, it's a new way to navigate through your iPhone, but so many people are just so used to, you know, the button and being able to press that button to go back, or long press on the button to access Siri or something like that. To access Siri, all you do is the button right here. You just long press on that. Oh, I don't have it set to do that. But that's how you can access Siri. Just long press on that. And this button too, again, as I mentioned, I mean, it's the power button and the sleep button. But say like if you press it 2 times or 3 times. So yeah, press it a couple of times and then it brings up my debit card on my Apple Pay. Swipe out of that. Okay. If I press it 3 times, it sets up invert colors, which invert colors on the iPhone X is just basically like iPhone's dark mode. So you see that looks a little weird right there, but then it's like, you know, when I go into my settings, then everything is dark, you know. So I just wish that they had like a dark mode that you can just turn it on, because I don't like my colors just being weird like that. So then to get out of it, you just click the side button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it just goes right back to the regular white screen. Now, the True Tone, let me show you guys that real quick. Under display and brightness under the settings. Now you see where my brightness is, and the True Tone, it kind of gives you like this yellowish hue to it, like this yellowish tint. Now, when I take it off, then you'll see the screen just goes back like it's natural white color. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but look, so I turn it on and you see that how it just kind of got like this little yellowish tint to it. And then when I turn it off, then it just goes back just clear white. Now the True Tone, it's helpful, especially when you're in like darker situations, like when it's nighttime, you're a little drowsy or whatnot, you don't want to strain your eyes, then yeah, True Tone is cool for it to be on, because, you know, it can really, the screen can get really dim, and if you're looking at the screen, you don't have to squint or strain your eyesight, you know, so that it's good for stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of times, you know, in bright environments, I mean, it seems like it gets too dim, you know, and sometimes the screen is just, you have a hard time seeing what's on the screen. So a lot of times I just turn it off, you know, and it just seems like when it's off, then the screen and everything else just looks much more natural, you know, to the naked eye. But I mean, it is there, you know, for you to tweak. And I mean, you know, the iPhones, I mean, there's tons of options. Look at this. I mean, there's tons of things that you can get in here and tweak. There's all kind of hidden features with the iPhone here. And again, it's got the A11 Bionic chip, iOS 11.1. I mean, the user experience has been a breeze. It's been nice and snappy. Let me see, where's that verse of the day at? You guys check out that verse of the day. Go ahead and get that up and you pause that real quick. Okay. Get out of that. Settings. Get out of that. Mail. I'm just pulling up some apps here just so you guys can just see how quickly this thing works. My chart. Breezing right through it. App Store. Okay. The score. I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. Oh, Dallas, they routed Washington. Still don't matter, because my Eagles, they got the division sewn up. Shout out to Philly, man. You know what I'm saying? My Eagles, they putting it down this year. Hopefully they can keep it going. All right. Credit Karma. Health. Okay. YouTube. All right, swipe out of that. You guys get the idea. And so again, the recent cards, swipe up, veer to the right. This phone is optimized very well with multitasking. And, this isn't true multitasking. It's just the same as Android. I mean, when you hit your recents button and it brings up all the apps that you have open, and, you can just, tap on them to go back to them real quick, and pick up where you left off. To me, true multitasking is being able to have a split screen, have an app going at the top, an app going at the bottom. To me, that's true multitasking. This isn't multitasking. This is just swiping through the open apps that you have and having the ability to just tap on that app and boom, it takes you right there instantly, seemingly without having to. Do you love the Bible app? Of course. Rate it. Remind me later. I got you, Bible app. But without, it takes you right back to the page without having to reload the page and all that kind of thing. The experience for me has been silky smooth, no lag or stutter or anything whatsoever. I mean, again, it's a different look for iPhone. It's a different feel for iPhone. I really question a lot of you so-called reviewers out there that say you thrive on tech innovation. And I'm not saying that you got to like this. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. I mean, it's not for everybody. But to sit there and slam it like it's a horrible product. I mean, really, the only thing that I find horrible about this phone thus far is the price. Aside that, man, this phone is solid, man. It does everything you need it to do. Bluetooth 5.0, it works flawlessly. I'm able to connect with all my Bluetooth devices all at the same time. When I get into my car, it syncs up to my car. I can see the metadata on my navigation screen, which allows me to be able to change the songs and things with the controls on my steering wheel. A lot of devices that have Bluetooth 5.0, they don't allow me to do that. That's a huge thing for me because I'm always in my car, always driving around. And it's like, who wants to take my eyes off the road and pick up the phone and be navigating around through Spotify trying to change songs when, I could have the ability to have it connect to my car through Bluetooth. I mean, it is connected to my car Bluetooth, but some of the devices, they allow me to use the metadata and some don't. And the ones that don't, it's like I have to pick up the device and control everything from the phone and take my eyes off the road. I don't like that very much. And so that's another reason why I'm huge on Bluetooth, man. I'm totally wireless with everything. That's why I'm just like, I don't care if phones don't have 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks. I mean, I'm not one of those plug-in kind of guys, but for those of you that is, you might want to start preparing yourselves. Because the 3.5 millimeter jack is an old technology and it's on its way out. Type-C everything, Bluetooth wireless everything. I'm telling you guys, man, the day is coming. Prepare yourselves. You guys want to start mentally condition yourselves for this transition, man. You know what I'm saying? I know some of you guys don't like it when I say that because I know a lot of you still like to plug in or whatnot. And there's a lot of devices out here for you guys that still do like to plug in. But I really feel like the day is coming where the 3.5 headphone jack is just going to get completely done away with. It's going to be completely obsolete. And then once that day comes, if it happens, it's like, what you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like homie told Tat in Menace to Society. It's like, man, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys is ready to make that adjustment. So as far as I mean, silky smooth experience as far as the software, no lag, no problems. Here's all your little cards and things. When you swipe to the right, it just brings up this little area. And you can customize this. I mean, you can have this just kind of quick toggle. So I've got the Bible Flipboard, the score, the weather, and then here's, Siri app suggestions. My Amazon orders, I order a lot of stuff from Amazon. I mean, so I'm just able to check all that stuff right there. But you can pretty much customize this to be whatever you want it to be. News, technology, weather, sports, whatever. whatever you want it to be. It's a useful tool, in my opinion. So it kind of reminds me of Google Now. I mean, it's not Google Now, but you know, it's just a section where you can just put a bunch of information that you know you want to get notifications about or whatnot, and it's catered to whatever whatever you want to know about on a daily basis. And you know, it switches up at certain times of the day as news is getting updated. So you know, it's informative. You know, it keeps you up on what's popping, and I like that. So I mean, so far, man, I mean, now that I've got my main SIM card in the iPhone 10, the iPhone X, I mean, hey, man, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Again, I'm not feeling the price. My bad, y'all. There was a cap on how long the video could be, so it just cut me off. But anyway, yeah, I'm really enjoying the X so far. You know, I'm still really intrigued by it. As I mentioned earlier in the video, you know, there was a couple of other devices that I was reviewing, and I really try to review all my devices in the order in which I got them, just to not break my concentration on whatever device that I'm reviewing currently. But you know, now I've got my main SIM card in the iPhone X here. It's got my full attention. And yeah, and you know, you guys already know the order of business. I mean, you know, stay tuned for the camera review. You know, this camera is amazing. I've already taken some really amazing shots with this camera. Looking forward to getting into some environments and taking a lot more beautiful pictures for you guys. And so I'm gonna, you know, coordinate and put that together for you. So stay tuned for that. That'll be up in, you know, a few days or so. And then stay tuned for the pristine review for the iPhone X here. So again, you know, my apologies for being long-winded. You guys know I like to give all my, you know, all the details and different talking points and subjects, and it just amazes me how people are really bashing this device, man. I mean, I gotta give, you know, Apple a salute on this one. This phone is dope, in my opinion. It's dope. Now, like I said, the only thing that I don't find dope at the moment is the price. I mean, you can buy two OnePlus 5Ts, you know, for the price of this and still have some change left over. You know, so, you know, it's stuff like that again is a constant reminder that phones are being made out here, with killer specs and killer hardware, software, and they're not charging an arm and a leg. The OnePlus 5T is $499, and stay tuned for that because I plan on having that here on the channel very, very soon. And I'm not sure that this $1,000 phone can even keep up with the OnePlus 5T. You know, the 5T's got a Snapdragon 835 processor, 6 or 8 gigs of RAM, compared to the 3 that's here. I think maybe the only thing that the iPhone here may just completely obliterate the OnePlus 5T is the camera section. But my understanding is that the OnePlus 5T has good cameras as well. So I have to, you know, get it here in the lab and test it out and, you know, do my little comparisons or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, you don't need to spend this kind of money, you know, on a device. I feel like Apple is very greedy. And nothing's going to get done about it because they have such a huge fan base. Whenever they drop something, I mean, they just flock to it. They flock to it. It doesn't matter the cost. I mean, they can be like, this phone is $2,000, and pre-order still would have been sold out and wouldn't have been able to get it nowhere. People would have found a way to get their hands on it. You know, so we got to change that, y'all. We got to change that. You know what I'm saying? If we stop buying these products, it's going to force these OEMs to drop their prices. You know? But anyway, you know, while I'm talking drop the prices, I mean, the price didn't stop me from going out and getting it. So I'm a part of the problem too, y'all. So, but yeah, this is the first initial thoughts and impressions for the iPhone X. So far, so good. I'm very excited. You know, I'm happy that I'm, you know, able to give this phone my full attention now. Again, stay tuned for the camera video. Stay tuned for the full pristine review. I'll have those up very soon. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I know it was a long one, but again, I like to lace you guys with all the information possible. Click that thumbs up button if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, you already know, click that thumbs down, man. It ain't no thing, baby. You know what I'm saying? Keep it honest, man. We keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? At Pristine Tech. You know what I'm saying? We keep it 100 for sure. And yeah, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already to expose yourself to a ton of videos that I've done like this one. Much more to come. Much love to all my subscribers, those that have been rocking with me for a minute. All my new subscribers, welcome to the journey. I appreciate the subscription, and I continue to, feed you guys this information, and I hope you continue to get out of it, what I'm hoping you do to help you make an informed decision on your next smartphone purchase. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this video right here. And until the next time, y'all, please stay safe, get spiritually fit if you haven't already, because we are definitely living in the last days, for sure. Okay, tomorrow's never promised. Get right with Christ, get spiritually fit, keep it pristine in every aspect of your lives. I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right? All right. Peace, y'all. I'm out.